welcome, everyone. Welcome to the back room. We are so pleased that you are here with us this evening. Karen and I are going into our third year of the back room, which is quite astonishing. And we are so pleased to have you here this evening. So many new people and so many backroom veterans. It is just fantastic to see you all. I'm your host for this evening. Karen and I take turns. I'm Hank Philippi Ryan, the USA Today bestselling author of 14 novels of suspense. My newest book, The House Guest, is just out and went into a second printing, for which I am delighted. And that's all because of you. Thank you, guys. It is sort of Gaslight meets Thelma and Louise meets Stranger on a Train. So I am very thrilled about that. So you don't have to do a thing. You will meet each author one by one. So sit back and relax and get to know these four marvelous authors. And let me introduce them to you right now. I'll just do it in the way that I see them on the screen. Alisa Lynn Valdés is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author, named one of Time magazine's 25 most influential Hispanics. She got her start writing as a staff writer for the LA Times and Boston Globe. Hollow Beasts marks her first entry into the suspense genre, and you have Hollow Beasts behind you on your audiobook. You can point to it like Vanna White. Oh, look, there it is.
I think it's probably showing up backwards.
No, it's not. It's perfect.
Oh, it's not. Okay, just for
perfect.
me.
Matches your flowers, matches your sweater.
I tried. I don't know.
Alisa lives in New Mexico, where her family has been for 11 generations. So think about that. We will think about that. William Landay is a former assistant DA from the Boston area. His novels include Defending Jacob, which was adapted as a series for Apple TV starring Chris Evans and was on the New York Times bestseller list for about 1 million years. I mean, I don't even know how long it was on the bestseller list. His newest is All That Is Mine, I Carry With Me, which is a brilliant domestic suspense thriller not to be missed. Dasha says Defending Jacob is so good in the comments. There you have it. The public speaks. Susan Patterson has a Bachelor of Science and MFA degree from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's Go Badgers, right?
You're right. Got it. You're learning quick.
Oh, dear. Where she was an All-American swimmer. She is the co-author of Big Words for Little Geniuses, a New York Times bestseller. Her new novel is the irresistibly funny and touching Things I Wish I Told My Mother. And there it is with your two co-authors on the front, Susan DeLallo and James Patterson, co-author. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are glad that you are here today. And Jordan Harper is the Edgar-winning author of She Rides Shotgun and Love and Other Wounds. Born and educated in Missouri, he now lives in Los Angeles, where he works as a writer and producer for television. His new book is Everybody Knows, starring a black bag PR fixer in Los Angeles. And Susan was just telling him earlier that her husband, James Patterson, loves.
I have his book right here.
That's what we like to see.
He highly recommends it.
That's great. And Jordan is just going home now after that.
I'm done. That'll do.
We need no more. So welcome to all of you this evening. So we will start, as always, with our 20 questions, and I will ask them in the order that I'm seeing you on the screen. Alisa, so that means you are first. Alisa, what is the first thing you remember writing?
Oh, gosh. I was 9. And well, yeah, the first thing that made any sense that was actually writing, I was 9. It was a story. It was a little short story. I believe I called it The Worm Who Thought He Was a Snake. And I spelled snake snack.
Either way.
It worked either way.
Yeah, it worked either way. So it's either about expectations or dinner.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
I do. Well, my parents do. Yeah.
What was the?
I think that's a children's book right there.
Maybe so. I drew pictures. I don't know. Yeah.
Was it about goals? Do you remember what you meant it to be about?
I think we had talked, and maybe in school, about tall tales, like the concept of tall tales, exaggeration, and that's what I came up with. But I remember wanting to write before I could actually write and thinking that I could convince people that I was writing. So we lived in New Orleans briefly. My dad's professor, and his first teaching job was at UNO. And being out, on the sidewalk and telling my adult neighbors that I knew how to write with
Aw.
and just like writing stuff. But I thought I could convince them. That was sad.
Well,
But
no,
that was probably 4. Yeah, 4 or
I
5.
remember typing on my grandmother's typewriter. I couldn't type, but I pretended that I was typing very seriously.
Yeah.
Typing. And I think we all have things like that. I wonder about them. That's
I dictated stories to my mother. I would draw pictures of monsters fighting, and then I would tell her what to write about the monsters fighting.
Oh, does she still have those? Do you still have those?
I don't have them. She might have them in a box someplace.
Oh, you should get those. Those are
But
probably
it's also interesting that the two of you talked about maybe drawing and everything too, and combining that with your writing.
And you know, my mom is a writer too, and we didn't have a ton of money when they were both still going to grad school, and she used to play word games.
oh.
So I would have to write, but it would be this metaphor and simile game when I was a little kid. So it was like, get ready, we're gonna get in the car and it's hot, get ready to roast like a potato, and then you'd have to come up with the next one. And that's what we did for fun in our
That's cool.
nerdy little house.
Of an idea.
And look where you are now. It works. I
I
mean,
know, she's a great
And you
writer.
remember it so well. I can't believe.
I know. There wasn't much to do in rural New Mexico. Yeah.
you seem to have made way far the best of it. That's wonderful. William Landay, what was your first job?
My first job. Oh my goodness. It's probably a camp counselor when I was a teenager. I must have been like 14 or so. Yeah, so a long time ago.
And do you remember what camp was it?
I think it was probably at a day camp around here. And the first real job, which I think might have been the same summer, was I worked at a liquor store as well, stocking shelves. So after that, I went on to become a bartender later on. So it may have set me on that path.
Everything is valuable. Everything is experience.
No experience is lost on a
You probably
record,
used
for sure.
that camp counselor skills as a bartender as well.
There is a lot of overlap. isn't
Right.
there?
Yeah, for sure.
Sue, you are next. Where did you grow up and how do you think that affected your life?
Well, I'm a Midwesterner. It sounds like there are a lot of, East Coast people here in this chat room. I was raised in Illinois and Wisconsin. My whole family is from there, but I also lived 20 years working in New York City. And now I still go to New York in the summer, but we live in Florida most of the time. I think there's something to be said about having Midwestern values. I definitely, I love all the different areas of the country, the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, and, Southwest and all that. I mean, it's all just fascinating to see, different personalities and different, things that go on in these parts of the country, even the landscape and everything else. But I do think there's something to be said about Midwestern values. I really do think it's there. Not that it's not anywhere else, but it is interesting, and it sort of comes out a little bit in my book.
Yeah, I grew up in Zionsville, Indiana. I was born in Chicago, grew up in Zionsville, Indiana.
Uh-huh.
Someone said once that one of the things about my books is that they're optimistic. And I wonder if that's, if that came from that. I always wonder if that's a Midwest.
Yeah, right. Good. Yep.
Okay, welcome.
Thanks.
George Harper, do you listen to music while you're writing?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of music that I listen to while I write. I actually have a playlist that is several thousand songs long that I've been curating for a decade now on Spotify. But I was a music journalist for years. But the main thing about the music I listen to when I write is it cannot have lyrics. There is one specific heavy metal band called Electric Wizard that I listen to that has lyrics, and I don't know what it is about that one band, and I only listen to them when I'm getting close to the end of the process. I don't know what that's about, but everything else is electronic music or jazz or something instrumental stuff, because the words get in the way.
Yeah, the words get in the way. Anybody else listen to music while they write? Oh, you do, Alisa?
A little bit, yeah.
I was a music major. My undergrad degree is in music.
Wow.
From Berklee College of Music in Boston. And
Right.
yeah, so I not only do I listen to music, but I feel like the training that I got, I'm a saxophonist, jazz saxophonist, improvisation, like somehow it's spontaneous composition. So I write fast. Now, I've been told that I write fast, word wise. And I think that's why. It's just a certain kind of musical training.
Your
I feel
brain
more-
is working on itself. I see you
Yeah.
all. These are things that you need to ask these authors about in the breakout room. That's what this is for. So Alisa, tell us the book that you're recommending.
It's really old. I had switched my book.
She switched.
Graphic.
Well,
Um,
River
I can-
Woman, River Demon, also good, but you switched to what?
I did switch.
Just hold up. That's good. And tell us about it.
This is an oldie but a goodie. It's The Milagro Beanfield War by John Nichols, who is a New Mexico writer. This was turned into a film by Robert Redford and Costa Gavras way back in the 80s sometime. This is the cheesiest cover. They did like something. Anyway, John Nichols, I think, is one of the great unsung. He's one of the best writers I've ever read, and I don't feel like he gets enough credit or recognition really for how good he is.
So Bill Landay, what book do you recommend?
I picked The End of the Affair by Graham Greene, which was I picked it because my new book starts with a narrator who is himself a writer, who is in some ways, if you care to view him that way, recognizably a stand-in for myself. And that is a device that I love, where the writer in one form or another appears in his own book in a way that the reader can recognize. And it adds kind of a level of, meta postmodern complexity, which I like, but it also adds a level of authenticity, because as you read, you kind of get the sense of the narrator turning to you and breaking the fourth wall and addressing you directly. And I love that device because I find it so seductive and so authentic. And in this book, it's done especially well. Graham Greene is so good.
Sue, what is your recommendation?
I'm sort of going to be a rule breaker here, but the first one is my second favorite author, Ellen Hildebrand. I've been reading her books for a lot of years since she did her first one called I don't know if it's the first, but one of the first, Blue Bistro. And so I've read every one since. They're sort of, they take place usually in Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard or down in the Caribbean. And they're sort of like smallish stories, but the characters really, and all the little places that she goes. Anyway, it's one of those books that you find if you're thinking about it during the day when you're not reading it, that it kind of, I wonder about those characters and what's going to happen and everything. That to me, and it's, anyway, and I really like her very much. She's just got incredible energy, and she's a terrific person, a great person to be around.
Jordan, what book are you recommending?
I'm recommending Bury Me Deep by Megan Abbott. I think Megan Abbott is maybe my favorite crime writer working today, just because of exactly that thing you're just talking about. She weaves a dream world that it just feels more real and authentic than the one you're in. And I always say, like, my goal in writing, and I got this from reading Megan, is you want somebody to almost fall face forward into the book, like they could just dive into it. And I think Megan does that as well as anybody. Now, to be honest, I picked Bury Me Deep because it was the Megan Abbott book I was rereading when I was asked what book to recommend. But I think any of her books, from this to Dare Me to The Turnout, would work as my recommendation.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed that taste of what a backroom session is like. But more fun comes immediately afterward. That's when the audience is broken up into 4 breakout rooms, and each author in turn visits each room. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because those relaxed face-to-face conversations between best-selling authors and readers are the hallmark of backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded, because what's said in the back room stays in the back room.